Well, Ryan, welcome back to the Aiming Five Hole podcast. We've been off for a couple weeks. It feels like
I've missed you.
Months.
I've missed you. I missed
you too.
I had nobody to talk to. I was out of the country. Nobody watches or cares about hockey there, and came back, and it was all about football for a week because of the Super Bowl. And so, honestly, man, I'm
jazzed to be back. But at least I
I
was in Canada, and I was able to watch the Canadian feeds to the Olympic Games, and which was a breath of fresh air compared to what we were seeing. But we'll get into that later. Who cares about that? But hey, Olympic hockey is here.
Olympic hockey is back.
We're done with the round robin pool play. There's been some surprises. And what we thought the top four teams were going to be very different. So that had some upsets, and Sweden coming third in their pool, probably the biggest upset of all.
Yeah.
Is that where we're going to start?
Yeah, let's start with the Olympics. I want to talk about the things that I've enjoyed the most. Number one, who saw Connor McDavid coming not only as the leading scorer in the tournament, but one of the most vicious hitters in the tournament, taking people out.
Well, did you see Brad Marchand's comments?
No,
he said to Wilson after that shift, Wilson came to the bench, and Marchand said, "Great hit, Willie," and he said, "That wasn't me. It was Connor."
It was just Connor McDavid. I mean, the guy has. I look. I've heard of people, having, a point per game pace. Connor McDavid is currently on a point per period pace, which is insane.
3 points per game pace. He's on a
he is
leading the tournament,
dominating. He's dominating in a way that I didn't even think he could do it.
No, see, I'm gonna beg to differ with you because I expected it out of him. Everything he has said and done and
he's
acted
focused.
Like from the beginning of this season was, I'm like laser focused on the Olympics. I fully expected for him to be our best player, him to come out of the shot out like a cannon, which he has been. And
it's unbelievable.
And I figured McKinnon would as well play great because he's a great player. But wow, the thing that I'm enjoying the most is Celebrini's just.
Well, that was going to be.
He's not.
That was
going
to be the second thing I like. I mean, the kid is unbelievable.
He is tied for second in points in this tournament, and he is just doing everything that anybody ever thought. And him and McDavid together and Wilson has been kind of magical, and sometimes they take Wilson off and throw in McKinnon. It's been magical.
Oh, when it's like the three-headed Mac attack, I've never seen anything like it. The way these guys move and pass to spaces and read each other, like the speed and the way they read each other, like they've been playing together as a trio for years.
Yeah,
with a 19-year-old with them, it's wow. I think Team Canada hockey is going to be set for a while.
We've said this before. We can say it again. Beyond the evolution of Connor McDavid and McKinnon, Celebrini is going to be the face of the NHL for some time to come.
Yeah, and Connor Bedard would still have something to say about that, but right now,
you can't say it's Celebrini. And then I loved Cooper's comments today after the game because Celebrini getting the penalty shot, because in the Olympics,
anybody can take it.
Anybody can take it. And somebody said, "Why aren't you throwing out McDavid there?" And he's going, "Are you kidding me? These people came to see the kid play. I'm letting them take it."
Yeah.
And he didn't disappoint. What a move.
He didn't disappoint. It was a phenomenal move, but I think he didn't know the rule. Celebrini just fully intended to take the shot, not knowing that there was any other option. Absolutely. So I think he was just sort of skating to center ice, and John Cooper just said, "Oh hell, let this kid take it. I'm certainly not going to pull him back in front of the entire world."
No way. But it's just incredible.
And it was not a very close game at that point. No.
That game was never going to be in doubt.
No.
From the beginning. Look, you got to hand it to the French coming out. They were gamers in the first period, but once Canada woke up, because I think I texted you at some point when Canada's playing at 50% and being looking a little sleepy. They need to wake up here a little bit. And
then they woke up.
And I wasn't worried that they were going to lose the game. Obviously, what I wanted them to do is what they did, is to secure that number one seed. right?
Yeah,
You
just
wanted them to
push it out.
push
Yeah.
it out, make it harder for the Team USA because Team USA was going to play Germany. Germany was going to be a tougher test. They weren't going to beat them by, you
Seven,
know,
8 goals or
they
anything
had
like
to
that.
beat them by 11 to surpass Canada. So it
Right.
was never going to happen. But
The
wow.
other thing I loved is my man Juraj Slavkovsky, also with 6 points, goals in each game that he's played in.
Incredible.
He's
He's been a
like,
gamer.
look, Slovakia is amazingly won their pool. They beat Finland, even though they got outshot like 45-15 or something like that. But they won their pool. They're gonna get a shot at the quarterfinals, and I have to say, Juraj Slavkovsky has, he's Mr. Olympics. He like when
Right.
he was a 17-year-old kid, he dominated the Olympics. Granted, there
Yeah.
weren't NHL players there in Beijing, but he played amazing. And now he's doing it again against NHL players. It's going to do wonders for his confidence when he comes back
Right.
after the tournament and
Right.
rejoins the Canadians. I'm so excited to see all of that. The thing I did not like is seeing Jordan Binnington give up some pretty soft goals, including bad rebounds. I'm saying right now, if I had a vote and I don't have a vote, Logan Thompson starts the quarterfinal game.
See, I'm going to disagree with you there. Yeah, against France, he gave up a couple softies, a couple bad rebounds. But if you watched the first game against the Czechs,
Yeah, he played
played
very well.
awesome. And I
He
think
played
as
well.
the
Maybe he had
he
more
has
to do against the
proven when
Czechs,
the
so he was
stage is at its
engaged.
highest, he's able to rise to it. And I think Cooper's and I look at you you argued with me since the beginning of the season. I said from day one of the season, Biddington's on this team and Biddington's starting day one. It's his job to lose. And Cooper even said it in his first interview. When they said, "When did you decide it was going to be Binnington?" He said 365 days ago at the end of the last tournament when he won it for us. So it's his tournament at this point to lose. It's his net. And at this point now, it's his net because they're
I'd
not
love
going
to
to
be
go
wrong.
back to
I'd
Logan
love, you want to know
Thompson.
how wrong I'd love to be? This is how wrong I'd love to be. I would love to see Jordan Binnington keep the net, win the gold medal by playing a spectacular gold medal game against the United States,
And then get
and
traded to
then
the
be
Edmonton Oilers at the
and then
trade
get
deadline.
traded to the Montreal Canadiens, and they go deep into the playoffs, possibly the Stanley Cup Finals. That's how wrong I would love to be.
You know what? That could happen, but I'd like to see him in Edmonton before that. Um, but look, I think the other big surprise for me is, and I think for everybody, and we talked about this before we got on the podcast, was the way this tournament was set up, and it's set up not purposefully, set up because of the world rankings, was that Canada, US would go through their pools and win, and then Sweden and Finland would fight for 3-4 because they were in the same pool.
Well, not because of the world rankings, because wasn't Switzerland the third ranked team or something like that?
But I think throughout the
The world
year, the four
rankings are bizarre
nations, yeah, it's kind of
because
weird. It's because
the
of the
world
World Cup
championships.
championships and whatnot. So coming in, U.S. was ranked, I think, number one because of the
Yeah.
World Championships. So, but coming out of the pools, you got Canada number one, U.S. number two. So they're set up. If everything goes from here on out,
Yep.
it's Canada, U.S. in the final. But a lot can happen between now and then. So the thing that was strange for me was okay, Slovakia winning their pool because of the three-way tie, and it was goals for and against the, those three teams. Finland's big win against Italy got thrown out of the equation,
Yeah.
so they became two. Sweden came three. But how that affects Sweden, Sweden actually finished ahead of Switzerland and Germany in terms of points, but because they came third in their pool, they get ranked behind Switzerland and Germany. So they're actually the seventh ranked team going into the into the playoff round. And what that means is they will play Latvia, who is the 10th ranked team. And if they beat the Latvia,
And they will.
they will play the US in the
A
quarterfinals.
fresh US team.
A fresh
But
US team.
but I think in a tournament this short, one extra game doesn't really matter.
No, well, I think I think that's sort of a good point because it was talked about today too on some of the broadcasts was that you were able to ease your way into this tournament a little bit more because there's more teams, more games. You're able
Mm-hmm.
to ease into it versus the four nations where it was, pedal down from the beginning because if you lost a game, you were in trouble. Here, it didn't really matter because the preliminary round was the round robin was for seeding only. Yeah, you set you up for a better run to the final, but it really didn't mean anything because everybody was getting into at least the playoff, right? But you do
Right.
want one of those four sure games, so you get that extra day off, and then you're going to play a tired team, hopefully coming into the quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you got to be playing well. I don't think Sweden looked all that great. Again, Sweden um, gets loses to Finland. Um, that was a shocker after Finland losing to Slovakia,
Yeah.
right? But um, anything can happen from this point in. It does mean that potentially Canada, Finland are on a collision course for the semis.
Yeah. Well, you know
Um,
what's not helping Sweden?
what's that?
That Willie Nylander is looking like playoff Willie Nylander.
Yeah, well, he's disappearing.
He
He has a
has that
disappearing act when he gets the going gets tough.
he turns into vapor when someone comes close to him in the corners. Just dematerializes and
Yeah,
appears
yeah.
someplace else, someplace safer. Um,
You know what's also surprised me too, and again, I'm going to revert to Team Canada for a second, is that, we argued a little bit about when Braden Point went out, who goes in, and they ended
yep.
up taking Jarvis,
Mm-hmm.
which
He's played
surprised
well.
me. He's played well, but, Jarvis has looked a little bit invisible. Hagel, although he scored today, has been somewhat invisible. Um, I still say Berard on this team or
Bedard.
Shifley, but sorry,
Yeah.
Bedard.
Bedard.
I said that, didn't I?
You said Berard,
I
like
said
Brian
Bedard.
Berard.
I'm slurring my words a little bit.
Bedard has two eyes.
Bedard. Um, or Shifley would have been another kill point for me. I
Yeah.
just again, what also is different about this tournament is that you dress an extra forward and an extra defenseman. So they're
Right.
trying to work in everybody, so they're not sitting on the bench too much and getting play. So you see the lines jumbled throughout the game. But I thought it was interesting that Team Canada sat Marchand for 2 games in a row. But he sounds
Yeah.
like, from all accounts, he's going in for the
He's going to play in the
quarterfinals.
quarterfinals. Yeah.
So Jarvis will likely come back out. But Canada's got problems on the point with Morrissey being out too, because he's a fire breakout guy, skates well, gets the puck out of his zone. That will hurt if he can't play. So far, they're saying he's not out for the tournament. We'll see if
They're
he's
hoping.
healthy for the quarters, but hopefully he can.
Yeah. Or Cale Makar will just play the whole game.
Yeah. You know who's actually looked really good, and people were saying he shouldn't be on this team, is Doughty's looked really good.
He's unbelievable, right? The
Play
ageless Drew
defensively.
Doughty.
Yeah, he's looked
Yeah.
really good on the
Yep.
point, and he's playing a lot of minutes. A lot of minutes when
Well,
it comes to the
yeah.
grandeur of everybody else. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm very impressed with it. So things I didn't like so far. Well, actually, no, I want to stay with the things that I do like. Number one, I've been through number one and two, but the other thing I loved about so far is social media. And what did I love about social media? Two things in particular. Number one, the all of the Kachuk brother memes that I'm seeing that portray them as like illiterate
well,
Neanderthals.
they are literate Neanderthals.
Honestly, I applaud the public out there. They are endlessly creative and completely hilarious. I have seen some absolutely brilliant memes of the Kachucks just being absolutely ransacked by people online, and it just fills my heart with love and joy.
Look,
The other thing
they're
I
good
love
hockey
on this,
players, but they are stupid.
they very much are a couple of meatheads. The other weird social media meme that seems to be floating around, and it has a lot to do, and apparently it's not new, but it's been flying around a lot more with the playoffs now because Quinn Hughes has been playing so well. Is this meme that Quinn Hughes always looks like there's a ghost of a Victorian girl whispering into his ear?
Well, I didn't see
And
that one. You have
you
to
haven't
send
seen that
that
one?
one
I've
to
been
me.
seeing it everywhere. I'll send it
Oh,
to you. I've been
wow.
seeing it everywhere, and it cracks me up because you look at like still shots of him on the bench or waiting, and he always looks like he's just sort of like a little shell shocked. And the way that's described is a Victorian era girl ghost whispering into his ear
Well, that would
is
that would track with
it's so funny.
well, that would track with one of the other stories that's out there, and they were actually talking about it today on the broadcast. Although they didn't go as far as to what I'm going to say to add on to it. What's being said behind the scenes is that um, apparently in junior hockey, he lived with the Kachucks. Him and Brady Kachuk were
Oh,
on the
really?
same junior team and played together. So he billeted at the Kachucks. And Keith Kachuk said, "I don't know, his mother can't be the smartest person who left his upbringing to me." But that wasn't the funny part. Is that it somehow came out and said that kid wasn't very smart back then, and they kind of said that he was looked like he was always lost. He was always kind of
And he looks like that
yeah,
now.
yeah, look at brilliant hockey player,
Absolutely.
but apparently
Top
that
three
tracks
defenseman
with
in the league, but
yeah, he's not exactly the light's not always fully
not always on.
shining from, but
Absolutely.
great hockey player obviously, but this
The other thing
this
we need to talk
tournament
about.
hasn't disappointed
No, not at all.
from
I mean, the pace of the hockey is unbelievable.
oh, breathtaking.
It's yeah, you can't, it's almost too much to follow.
Right.
The other, but don't take anything away from the women's side of the tournament
Oh,
because what a
absolutely.
few observations there. First of all, after their first meeting, granted, Marie-Philippe Poulin was not in the game, but the U.S. looks like it's a different class from the Canadian team
Oh,
right now.
absolutely. And look, at coming into the tournament, they had beaten Canada in their pre-series 4 games to nothing and beat them pretty badly in all 4 games. So
Yeah,
let's hope Team Canada can rise to the occasion because they're going to win. It's going to be Canada US in the final on
yeah, but
Wednesday. I think it's going to be
it's
Wednesday or
yeah, they're
Thursday.
both in the
I think
semis.
it's
Yeah, I
Thursday.
don't see. Given what I saw in the first
Yeah.
game, I thought they were completely outclassed
You
by the
got to hope that
Americans.
they can. Look at go Team Canada. The women, would love to see them win the gold as well. But without um, Marie,
She's gonna play.
Marie
She's
Philippe,
gonna
yeah,
play.
she's played. Well, she played the last game,
Yeah,
but Poulin is such an important player for that team. But yes, the U.S. women's team looks so much faster, um,
organized. They are so
organized.
organized.
Yeah,
They are so organized. They come in waves. That team.
yeah,
They are so well coached. The other thing was, especially against that game against, I guess, Italy. That was physical.
yeah. Well,
First of all, I spent the first period trying to figure out,
is there
okay,
checking or no checking?
is there checking or no checking? And like,
There's no
what is the
checking.
actual, like, so there was like a lot of penalties for illegal checks. And some of them a couple of them are like, I guess I don't really understand the rule. What's an illegal check? And a couple of them were like, oh yeah, that's an illegal check. There's no doubt about that one.
Well, you can
That's a
rub them
full
out, you
on,
can hit, but you
as
can't.
long as you're playing the puck, but
Right,
you cannot like lay someone out when the
right.
puck's not around. And there were a few of those, and there were a few scrums as well in front of nets. Points to, first of all, points to the Americans for not letting somebody get into their kitchen and try to like get under their skin and get them off their game. The Americans came and punched back and said, now we're going to score a whole bunch of goals on you to like add
Right.
insult to injury. But also points to Italy, man. Like they were like, we're not going to take this lying down. We're not just going to get waxed and skulk out of the building.
Absolutely.
We're gonna
But
make this a game.
But this has been great for the women's game. The growth of the women's game has been phenomenal over the last couple of years, thanks to the PWHL's arrival, giving more women a chance to play at a different level, to play better hockey. And it's showing because, yes, it's still Canada, US, and everybody else, but everybody else is getting
Mm-hmm.
closer,
They're getting
right?
better.
They're getting better.
And,
And the
and by the
games are
way,
more competitive. It used to be, 10-1,
mm-hmm.
10-2, 11-0, whatever. Now the games are a lot closer against those other nations. So
Yeah,
it's
they're
going to take
six to
some
one
time.
instead.
Yeah, but it's going to take some time, but it's still with the PWHL and what they've done, it's been amazing. And kudos to the women's game for really
Speaking of the PWHL, though, like when you compare the on ice product, I don't see any reason why hitting shouldn't be legal in the women's game because
well,
I like seeing it in the PWHL and the the game looks a little bit different. It looks a little more hockey-like, if I dare
right.
say that, than the
Well,
Olympic game.
I would
But
actually argue that the Olympics has been letting it go a little bit, and I don't think
uh,
there's actually checking in the PWHL as well. I just think they let it go a little bit more.
no, the rules are actually different
Oh,
in the
is it? I know the rules are
PWHL.
different, but I didn't think checking was a
Yeah,
different
no,
one.
you
Was
can
it? Okay.
hit.
But yeah, they were talking about that at the broadcast too, the women's game today or yesterday, today when women's played. Yesterday, I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember whatever day it was, that hey, look at women wear all the same equipment the men do. Why not
Yeah.
let them hit?
Let them hit. Let
Yeah,
them hit. Yeah,
it's
you
phenomenal.
can hit in women's rugby. Why can't you hit in women's hockey?
Right, right.
And
Apparently, you
then
can
there's the
swear in hockey, but you can't swear in curling.
you
Let's
can
not even
swear
go
all you
there.
want in
Let's not
curling.
even.
Love that. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But the big bad thing that's come out of this Olympics, and we alluded to it a little bit with respect to the Josh Morrissey injury, is the Kevin Fiala injury, which is clearly going to end his season. And maybe that transitions us out of the Olympic conversation into back into the NHL because the Kings were kind of all in, right? They traded for
Absolutely.
Artemi Panarin, and we'll talk about that trade because it happened after our last episode. But the blow to have your most dangerous forward. Now that's not their highest scoring forward. That's Adrian Kempe, but your most dangerous forward, the guy who enters the zone with the puck, can distribute it, can make a slick move. He's the guy that's going to, set up a lot of what they want to do offensively. And now he is gone. And it looked like a terrible leg injury. Whenever you get stretchered off the ice, still lying face down because they're worried about moving you and flipping you over and furthering the injury to your leg, that's bad.
But watching it, I kind of still watched it. Yes, it's bad. When you watch it, it was kind of just an awkward. It wasn't like
It was
Wilson hit
awkward.
him weird. Just like he
No.
fell awkward. They fell into each other awkwardly, and it was a weird play. And look at to go back to 1 second. Before this tournament, we said that they're going to have to write on the Kachuk brothers' wrists that you can't fight.
Tom Wilson didn't
we
get
have
that
to write it
message.
on Tom Wilson's wrists now, and I'm screaming at the TV, going, "This isn't the game to do this." Not against France.
But a Gordie
Save it
Howe
for
hat
US
trick.
Canada until you get to the dummy brothers. Then take it out on them. Like,
Gordie Howe
stop.
hat
We
trick in
need
the
you. Don't
Olympics.
get suspended.
It's awesome. Well, there's no suspension. It's just a game misconduct.
It
right?
can be a suspension. That's the problem.
Oh.
It's once that the fight happens, then they decide whether there's further action. And it was deemed after the game that there's no further action.
Yeah, let it go.
But the
Okay.
IIHF and the Olympic Committee could suspend them for fighting if it's bad enough. It wasn't. So, but let's go back to LA.
So Fiala, so Fiala's out for the season, a horrible injury, and where does that leave the Kings? Right? They acquire a tremendously dynamic player, a zone entry machine, just like Fiala was, and now they lost the one.
One in, one out. That's the problem. Right?
Yeah, they're like right back where they started.
Right.
So my heart goes out to the LA Kings. They're 3 points out of a playoff spot.
Playoffs,
I think
out of a wild card spot behind the Ducks.
So
do they become sellers now, or do they become buyers?
No. They're gonna try. They've got cap space now, so they're gonna
they
try
didn't they didn't give up a whole lot to get Panarin.
No, and we can talk about that because
they got robbed.
Fire Drury. I'll say it again. I mean, they got Liam Greentree, who screams third line, screams it. I've seen him play,
and they got a couple draft picks,
and not a first rounder either.
Right,
like the first round draft pick was Liam Greentree.
The only defense to Drury was what's come out is that Panarin said he wanted to go to LA, and it was the only team he was willing to, of the teams that were in it at the end, he was the only team he was willing to waive his no trade clause to.
And you know why he was able to do that? Was because Chris Drury came to him and said, I am not going to re-sign you. I am going to trade you. And that immediately puts Panarin in the driver's seat.
Right.
Like, what
dumb. Look, we've been screaming since the beginning of this season, trade Panarin. I mean, not trade, but
fire Drury.
Fire Drury. And now they're letting him lead the rebuild. The Rangers aren't going to be...
They're not going to be good for a while.
Yeah, this is going to be terrible. They're not getting anything for their assets. It's terrible.
Yeah, it was a terrible trade.
Yeah,
terrible trade.
Awful.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Panarin in a Kings uniform.
So, what do you think your Habs are going to do at the trade deadline? Because the Habs are looking good. They're sitting in the second seed or tied for the second seed in the Atlantic Eastern Division.
Unless there is a highway robbery opportunity for them, I think they stand pat.
Do you stand pat, or do you trade Line A, at least get some assets, get something for them?
Yeah, but that's not
you go after some gold, like you said it earlier. They're not going to get Binnington at this point because but do you go after a goaltender out there? I still say the Leafs are going to probably trade one of their three goaltenders potentially.
They might.
Do they go after a goaltender? Because I think that's your weak spot right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Montembeau hasn't played well. You've said it. Dobish is
He's a good
backup,
backup.
and the
He's a
kid
backup.
is the other kid is
Yeah, Jacob Fowler's not ready. We'll
not
we'll
ready,
we'll
right?
talk about him next year. But the
So you don't
what
think
I
they
would say
they go
is
after anybody else? Do you think they go after Kadri? They seem to be around the Kadri conversation. Could be a gritty player for them.
maybe does it line up with their window expectations? In other words, does he have too much time left on his contract for the way they want to set that up?
But
Maybe Blake
if you don't
Coleman is
win
a
this year,
better.
then you can win in the future years, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Because it's
I
not just about this year for Montreal. It's the next
no,
three or
it's
4 years, right?
exactly.
You've got
That's
three,
why they don't
four,
want to give up. They
5 year
don't want to
window
give up
here.
anything. They don't want to. There's I think there's two players that are probably three players in their system that are probably off limits.
Right.
Michael Hage, David Reinbacher, and this Zhuravsky kid in Russia, who they're
At
saying
least you got three.
who could be another Demidov. They're saying,
Yeah. Wow.
which if that's the case, then we are
Wow.
stoked. We're set. Um, but they've got some draft capital that they can give up. I just don't think that they want to. There's a couple of things they don't want to do. They don't want to reduce their flexibility next year or the year after when they're really going to be in contention. Hopefully, um, and they don't want to acquire a veteran with a lot of time that is going to block one of their younger players who they want to find ice time for in the near
So you say they get
future.
a rental instead of a.
They may get a rental. They may also not do anything. I think if they're going to do anything, they'll probably try to find Line a home and
Okay.
get an asset for them that they can flip maybe at the draft.
They're gonna have to retain some of that contract online, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it's a rental.
Right.
So it depends who wants him and what their injury situation is.
Right.
If it was somebody like
You're gonna need somebody that
Florida,
needs some power play help because that's about the only place he's good for.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
We've
I
talked
could
about it.
see, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't it be amazing to see him on Colorado, who's had power play troubles this season?
Does Colorado really need him? They got
They
look
have, but they
on
have
on the power
a,
play. They got Natchez, they got McKinnon, they got go
but to have a
Brock
triggerman on the
Nelson.
half
You go like
boards,
really? Do you need this guy?
well, given where their power play is right now, they might.
If I'm Colorado, if
And
I'm
and the
Sakic,
fact
I stay
is,
long away from what could
and
be
the
a bit of
rest
a
of
head
their
case in the change room.
no, from everything I'm hearing, that's not everything I'm hearing. Like I'm an insider, but everything I've read, he's been amazing in the locker
Right?
room.
Okay.
He had like a net positive. I think that Colorado could be a really interesting destination for him because their power play struggles and because they can bury him
Right.
when it's not on the power play because they're that deep a team.
Right.
In the same way that Florida uh, picked up Mike Hoffman and basically put him out for the power play and benched him the
Right.
rest of the game.
It's going to be interesting what Florida does too. Is do they start selling a few pieces to give them some wiggle room to make some changes next year?
Yeah, maybe, or maybe
Obviously
they don't
this
think
year
they have
was
to
a
make a lot of changes next
well,
year because
obviously
they're going
this
to
year
have
was a bit
everybody
of a
back.
throwaway year because of the
Well,
injuries and whatnot is kind of
yeah,
taking them out. But do they stand pat or whatnot? It'll be interesting to see what they do.
yeah. Well, the question is, what do the Leafs do? Right?
Well, look at
I know you. We talked about this. You've gotten your head deep into like
yeah, I've gone deep into
what the Leafs should
this.
do.
But look at they're 6 points out. I'm going to say what I said beforehand. I know they won their few games going into the break. They're not contenders. We got to put it on the table. We got to say, be honest. Even if they squeak somehow into the playoffs,
I
they are
teased you though,
not.
didn't I? I teased you. I was like,
Yeah,
they won
it's
their
not.
last three
I don't
games. They're
care.
only
I'm
six
still
points
saying
out.
sell. I
I
said it right
teased
away. I
you.
said no, sell, sell. Look at they've got to. Everybody knows in Toronto, our cupboards are bare from a draft pick perspective. We don't have a first round pick for the next 2 years unless something really catastrophic happens and we end up in the top five in the next 2 years, which I don't think will happen.
Yeah.
So unless that happens, we don't have a first round draft pick the next couple of years. So the cupboards are bare on draft picks. We do not have a strong um, 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 talent pool in terms of youngsters coming up from the minors. We might have one or two guys, and that's it. So right now, you've got some assets. We have four unrestricted um, agents after this year, free
So
agents
who's the
after
first
this
one you
year.
dump?
So I think you could sell, I think a player like Lawton and McMahon are going to be really wanted at the trade deadline, both unrestricted free agents after this year. both on very attractive contracts. Someone's going to want the grittiness, penalty kill, sort of edgy player like Scott Lawton. And Mike Johnson, actually, I was listening to the TSN podcast a couple of weeks ago. He actually had a great point. He goes, I think they sell all four of their unrestricted free agents, which are Lawton, McMahon, Carl Yarncroc, and Sketcher. And you give yourself some some draft pick capital, maybe a few prospects. You could probably get a first or second rounder for Lawton and McMahon, maybe a first rounder for both. Who knows? Maybe I'm pie in the sky thinking, but you sell all of them, and it's not illegal. And I didn't think I didn't know this. It's not illegal to go to them and say, "Hey, look, you're both unrestricted free agents. Don't sign with them. We're going to trade you. Do us a favor. Go. We're going to trade you. We're not going to win this year. Go and try and win something." And here's what a contract will look like in next season. Because I think they really like Lawton. I think they really like McMahon, but they need to use them to restock the shelves, right? And you
Yeah,
can
well, I
get
think
some
Lawton could
assets
get
for him. I
Lawton. You
think,
can get some assets. McMahon, everybody talks about like how in demand you would be, and he's having a great scoring year. Blah blah blah.
well, he's a big,
He's
speedy
getting you a
power
second.
forward.
He's getting you a second and third rounder.
Yeah, he's not going to. Lawton's going to
he's
get you
getting
the
you a
bigger.
60. He's getting you a draft pick around 67th spot. Like that's
But it's
is that
something.
great?
We don't have that right now. That's the problem, right? So anything you get, a second rounder, is not a bad return for because you can re-sign him in the offseason and you can go to him and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, look, you want to come back? Here's your contract, right? The other sort of things that are flying around out there, which I hope they don't do, is OEL. I think OEL still has he's signed through 27, 28 at 3.5 million. He's very attractive and he's been one of their best defensemen this year, right? You don't want
Yeah,
to trade him.
low bar.
Yeah, so don't trade him. I think Stolhart's as with his injuries, you could probably get a decent piece for him. He's only at 2.5 million. So
By the way,
maybe
he's. It's possible that Anthony Stolarz is a phenomenal goalie who's meant to play 20 to 25 games a
right,
year.
right. He could be, but
His body might just not
he's
be.
proven he's a great goalie. And look at Wool has proven he can carry the load. So
Yeah,
maybe and Hildeby has been good. So you've got three. You got an extra asset there. Now's the time to cash it in, right?
yeah. But
The other one is
to your
Brendan
initial point
Carlo.
though, but
Sorry.
to your initial point about re-signing, I would just caution you that a lot of people, when the Canadians, traded away Sean Monahan to the Jets uh, as a rental, and a lot of people said he's had such a great comeback season in Montreal. They did so great in that deal. I bet they're going to re-sign him in the offseason. And then Columbus threw what people thought was stupid money at him. Turns out it was worth every penny.
Yeah.
Kudos to him. Love Sean Monahan as a guy. That plan, if that was the plan at all, fell through. So
Yeah, it can
no
happen.
matter
But I
how
think
much
it's a
people
little
say they want to
different.
come
But
back, you just
did they
never
go to
know.
Sean Monahan beforehand and say, "We want to bring you back. Go help us out. Here's what the contract could look like." Who
I
knows,
couldn't
right?
answer that. I
I
couldn't
think
answer that.
what Mike Johnson, I thought he just put an interesting spin on it that I don't know if other teams have done that. Is saying, "Hey, look, we like you, but we need we're not going to win right now. Go help us out, and here's what the contract will look like. And if you want it, it's there. If not, we
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
right? So that it is a risk. I'm not saying it's not a risk, but you're not going to win this year anyways, and you need to restock the cupboards. So
Right.
use those assets
Yeah.
and
But
do it. I don't.
let's say you trade Scott Lawton to Minnesota. You get a couple assets, maybe a second and a fourth rounder or something like that back. Okay.
You get a little more
And and a prospect, but you're not getting a first rounder for Scott Lawton anyway. And you have that conversation with him, and he's like, "We know you want to come back. We know you like Toronto. We know you like the guys on this team. The locker room's great." But he goes to Minnesota, and he makes the conference finals, and it goes down to 7 games, and he goes to battle with these guys and loves them.
It's a risk.
Kind of hard to drag him away from
It's a
that, right?
risk. There's no question it's a risk, but you can't bring this team back next year.
No, you can't.
So
You can't.
you can't, at some point, they have to address the fact that there's no prospects in the minors. There's nothing in the cupboard from a draft pick perspective, and you're not going to win this year. So you can't be buyers at the trade deadline because you got nothing to buy with. So
Agree.
sell and take the
Agree.
risk. take the risk that these guys might not come back that you might want. You're not going to want them all back, but you might want one or two of them back, and take that
Yeah, and
risk.
I guess that's my point. I guess my
If
point
I'm
is
GM of
like,
this team,
go ahead,
I'm
make the
taking that
deal.
risk. I'm taking
Yeah,
that risk,
yeah.
right?
I'm not saying don't make the deal. I'm saying don't make the deal with this as your expectation.
No, no, but it's a risk. Like I'm not suggesting it's
Like if they come back, it's a
slam dunk.
bonus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Brandon Carlo's the other one. Some people would say sell him, other people would say, look, he's looked a lot better without Riley in the lineup and having to cover up for Riley. Let's be like Riley.
But he's
We
not.
all said when
Yeah.
Riley signed that last deal at 8 years at 7.5 million, this contract ain't going to age well, and it's not aging well. They have to offload Riley as well, and if they have to eat half that salary, eat it.
Yeah.
You
Well, the
got
only
to
thing
get
good
rid of
about
this guy.
Carlo is his contract, though.
His contract's great. He's only
Yeah,
at
that's the
I
only
think
thing
it's
that's
like
good about him.
2 million. I think he's at a couple million.
He's a
But
good he's a good playoff type defender because he can knock
three and a
people
half
down,
million.
and yeah, he can knock people down in front of the net. But that if you need somebody to like retrieve the puck in the corner defensive zone and quickly start a play going the other way, that's not your guy.
But
And that is
Riley
the
isn't
guy
either
that, well,
anymore.
he used to be.
He used to
But
be, but that's the problem. He's not the player
yeah.
he used to be. They've put too much.
But the only guy they have right now who can do that is OEL.
Right. But here's the thing: is Riley could be someone at the trade deadline that somebody needs again, power play, offensive defenseman that is a
Mm-hmm.
liability on the back end, but is offensive and has enough defensive defensemen that he's not going to be an eyesore for or a liability, right? So I think those are you're not going to trade all five of them, but those are the five guys that I'm expecting to have some conversation around and some movement. I hope those guys, and I'll add
There's one name you
Robertson to
haven't
that too.
mentioned.
I just said I'd add Robertson to that conversation
Oh, okay. There you go. There
because
you
he's a
go.
restricted free agent, but doesn't
I
matter.
know, and they need him,
But
and they may need an extra bag of pucks. So that's your asset.
absolutely. So, but I think it's sell now, restock, and deal with this issue, and let's look forward to the next couple of years because it ain't this year.
It ain't this year. Okay, so let's wrap it up very quickly. Going back to the Olympics because that's what's in front of us over the next week. What do you expect us to be talking about next Sunday
I
night?
think we're going to be talking about Canada, US, amazing final, epic battle. I made the prediction last year for the Four Nations, said it was going to go to overtime. Canada would win in overtime.
Okay.
I'm going to make a prediction now. Canada over the US, regulation 4-3 or 4-2. Canada's going to win in regulation either 4-3 or 4-2.
Okay. All right. I guess I need to make my prediction then too, right?
Yeah.
That is a very, very solid prediction. One that's
pretty good, eh?
Like yeah, because it's like right in the middle, like that 4-2 kind of scores, right? Damn.
4-2,
I don't
4-3.
know. I guess what I'll do, I'm also going to pick Canada to win.
They're just looking so good. I
Yeah,
don't want
but
to jinx it.
I am going to pick a higher scoring game. I think that Canada wins 5-4.
5-4. That's a good one too. That's an excellent. Before we go to it, we have to comment that we both thought, and through all the conversations before this tournament happens, that this rink was going to be an issue.
Hasn't really been an issue.
Hasn't been an issue, although, and I texted you earlier today,
It
and we
looked
haven't heard the
choppy.
players talk about, although they did today in the US game at the end, pucks bouncing a lot. And the later games, as the games go on, you see a lot more of the puck bouncing around and players having trouble controlling the puck. And I think that's the ice, right? I think that's the issue
Yeah.
we all said was going to be the ice. The stands seem to be done. People are drinking beers, but who knows where they're going to the washroom.
Well, interestingly, I heard something about because they use the same rink for the speed skating, don't they? The short track.
No, that's the other rink. I think where
The
the
other
women are
rink,
playing.
okay, okay, because yeah, I'd heard something about the ice not being right because they had it chemically balanced for the speed skating. There's like a little bit different, I don't know,
Right.
some sort of content in it, and so it didn't feel right for hockey. But I'm glad that the men's tournament is not affected by that.
You're talking about the short track speed in case of the
Yeah,
the
the long track
is at
speed,
a much bigger venue.
Yes, much bigger. I meant short track speed skate. Anyway, look, go Canada, go US.
Canada. I'm
I
wearing
want to
my
see you
Canada
guys.
shirt. I might not take this shirt off until the end of this tournament.
Well, I'm glad I'm not living with you.
Good thing I have more than one. But
yeah,
it's been awesome. Can't wait. Celebrini, McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby's look great. Doughty's look great. The team is just melting. The U.S. has looked solid. I don't think they've played quite as well overall. I think they're missing some scoring touch, although they
Matthews has 3 goals, so you got to feel good about that.
He still doesn't look like a captain out there, Team USA. But whatever. Anyways, can't wait. We'll be texting back and forth.
We'll be texting
all week, and can't wait. I'm not sure there'll be any upsets from here on out unless Sweden or Finland upset either Canada or the U.S. Hopefully not.
Yes.
But go Canada, go! I can't wait to the final.
All right,
we'll see you Sunday night after the gold medal game on the 5-Hole podcast. See you then.
Take care, buddy.
See you later. Bye-bye.